Hey there, and welcome. If you're gearing up for the Cambridge IGCSE English listening paper, you've landed in the perfect spot. We're about to crack the code on this exam, breaking down everything you need to know to make it a real success story. So, what's the real secret to crushing this listening exam? Well, here's a hint. It has way less to do with having a super sharp hearing and everything to do with having a super sharp strategy. It's all about knowing how the test works and what the examiners are actually listening for. And to get you there, here's our game plan. First, we'll decode the paper itself. Then, we'll get into some golden rules straight from the examiners. After that, we'll tackle those tricky questions, learn how to avoid common traps, and wrap it all up with your final checklist for exam day. Sound good? Let's dive in. All right, first things first. You gotta know the rules of the game before you can win it, right? So let's get you familiar with the basic blueprint of the IGCSE listening paper. Okay, so the whole thing is made up of 40 multiple choice questions. And you know what that means? The correct answer is always right there on the page in front of you. Your job is just to listen carefully enough to spot it. You've got about 15 minutes from start to finish. Now listen up, because this is crucial. That time includes 6 minutes at the very end, set aside just for you to transfer your answers over to the official answer sheet. Don't forget that. So the exam is broken down into 5 different exercises. And you'll notice as you move through it that the questions start to get a little tougher. You're going to hear all sorts of audio, people talking by themselves, conversations, longer talks. The whole point is to see if you can pick up on both the small, specific details and the bigger, more complex ideas. Think of exercise 1 as your warm-up lap. It's designed to ease you in. You'll listen to something short, look at a few pictures, and just pick the one that matches what you heard. It's a nice, gentle way to get started. Okay, let's get to the really good stuff. This section is all about advice taken directly from the Cambridge Examiner reports. I mean, this is intel straight from the people who will be marking your paper. It doesn't get any better than this. This right here, this is the #1 most important golden rule. Before you hear a single word of the recording, you have to read the question and know exactly what you're listening for. Seriously, so many people lose easy marks just by rushing the step. The question is your target. Don't start listening without one. And the best way to do that? You have to become a pro at spotting the keywords. These are the words that totally change the meaning of the question and tell you what to zero in on. Underlining them in your reading time is probably one of the best habits you can get into. And what kind of words are we talking about? Words like best, first, main, or most. The examiners call these directional words. Think about it. The audio might mention 3 different movies, but the question only wants to know which one they saw first. Or they might list 5 reasons, but you need the main one. These little words are everything. Okay, here's a pro tip. Sometimes a speaker will say something that sounds exactly like the answer, but then they'll change their mind or add a little twist. Like, I was going to get the pizza, but then I remembered the tacos, and they're so much better. If you stopped listening at pizza, you'd fall right into the trap. You have to listen until the very end of their thought. So with those rules in mind, let's talk about how to handle the tougher questions. Examiners point out the same few tricky spots year after year, so we're going to face them head on right now. The exam is basically testing 2 things. First is stated information. That's the easy stuff, like when they say the train leaves at 5 o'clock. It's stated directly. But then there's implied information. This is about what the speaker doesn't say directly. You have to figure out their mood or opinion from their tone of voice. And trust me, the examiner reports say this is where students struggle the most. Now this is a huge one, especially for those more difficult exercises later in the paper. If you're looking at a multiple choice statement, it is only, and I mean only, the right answer if every single piece of that statement is mentioned in the audio. A partial match is always a wrong answer. So here's your game plan. When you read an answer option, break it into parts. If it says, she loved the concert because of the singer and the special effects, you need to hear them talk about both the singer and the special effects. If they only mention how great the singer was, that answer is wrong, no matter how tempting it sounds. Okay, we know the rules, we know how to handle the tough stuff. Now let's talk about the sneaky traps the exam sets on purpose to separate the good listeners from the great ones. Have you ever had that feeling where you're so sure you heard the right answer, you pick it, and then you find out you got it wrong? Yeah, you probably fell for something called a distractor. But what is that exactly? A distractor is a piece of bait. It's info that's put into the audio on purpose to sound like the right answer. So the question might be, what pet did he get? And the speaker says, well, I really wanted a dog, and I almost got a hamster, but in the end, I chose the cat. The dog and the hamster are the distractors. They're mentioned, but they aren't the answer. And this quote shows you just how good those distractors are at tricking people. The way to beat them is to listen for the whole idea, not just one or two words. Remember what we said before. Listen to see if the speaker confirms an idea or dismisses it. That's your best defense. Wow, we have covered a lot. So to make sure all of this sticks, let's boil it all down into one final, super powerful checklist for you to take into the exam. Here it is, your roadmap. Number 1, read the questions first. 2, hunt for those keywords and underline them. 3, always listen to the end of a thought. 4, remember, for a statement to be true, all of it has to be true. 5, be suspicious of answers that seem too obvious. They could be distractors. And finally, use that 6-minute transfer time wisely. Double check that you've only shaded one box for each question. That's it. By understanding the exam structure, listening to what the examiners tell you, and knowing what traps to look out for, you're not just a listener anymore. You're a code breaker. You've got the strategy. Now go and put it into practice. You've got this. Good luck.